They don't tweet. They rarely give interviews. They operate behind layers of protocol, power, and paranoia. But when they move, the world shifts. They control trillions, command armies, rewrite the economies of entire nations, sometimes entire regions. They can make oil flow, cities rise, and rivals disappear. This isn't fiction. This is the real story of the men who sit at the very top of the Gulf's power pyramid. A world where wealth is the beginning, not the pinnacle, and where being untouchable isn't a title, it's a birthright. Welcome to Desert Billionaires. Today, we take you deep inside the lives, strategies, and secrets of the most powerful men in the Gulf. The Untouchables. Let's start at the apex. Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Known to the world as MBS. To some, he's a reformer. To others, a ruthless strategist. At just 39, he's already reshaped the kingdom's direction with a single vision. Vision 2030. From Neom, a $500 billion megacity in the desert, to lifting the ban on women driving, MBS has turned Saudi Arabia from an oil-rich theocracy to a tech and tourism-driven powerhouse. But behind the headlines is a man who consolidated power faster than any royal in recent Saudi history. When his father became king, MBS sidelined powerful cousins, detained rival princes at the Ritz-Carlton, and took direct control of the Public Investment Fund, now one of the most aggressive sovereign wealth funds on earth. That fund, it manages over $700 billion. And it's not just investing in companies, it's buying influence, Uber, Lucid Motors, Newcastle United, FC, gaming studios, AI labs. Where Silicon Valley sees capital, MBS sees leverage. But he's not alone. Next, we look to the UAE and the man known simply as MBZ, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the president of the United Arab Emirates and ruler of Abu Dhabi. Where MBS is a headline, MBZ is a shadow, quiet, calculated, brilliant. The former helicopter pilot has become the architect of modern Gulf geopolitics. He transformed Abu Dhabi's oil wealth into global muscle through Mubadala, a $300 billion investment arm. He positioned the UAE as a military and diplomatic player in Yemen, in Libya, even in Ethiopia's peace deal. And while Dubai built towers and brands, Abu Dhabi built power. MBZ is often called the most powerful Arab you've never heard of. His influence spans Washington, Moscow, Tel Aviv, and Beijing. He's hosted secret talks, orchestrated behind-the-scenes deals, and turned the UAE into a bridge between East and West. And then there's Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Emir of Qatar. At 44, he commands one of the world's most mysterious and boldest foreign policy tools, Al Jazeera and the Qatar Investment Authority. QIA holds over $475 billion, with massive stakes in European real estate, luxury fashion, Barclays, Heathrow Airport, and PSG. But money isn't his only tool. Under Tamim's leadership, Qatar has become a diplomatic ninja, negotiating with the Taliban, hosting ceasefire talks, and mediating hostage releases. He hosted the World Cup in a desert, built a stadium with solar-powered air conditioning, and put Qatar on the global stage. He's untouchable because he doesn't act like a power broker. But make no mistake, Tamim's network is arguably more agile, more international, and more media-savvy than any of his neighbors. But what makes these men truly untouchable is what's behind the scenes. Each of them controls massive sovereign funds, essentially their nation's piggy banks, with very little oversight. These aren't just tools of national development. They're weapons of influence. They buy airports, ports, football clubs, tech startups. They create dependency, and with it, leverage. Each of them leads security agencies loyal to their inner circles. They don't rely solely on traditional military power. They fund private contractors, cyber espionage units, disinformation teams. Their palaces have encrypted communication hubs. Their aircraft are tracked via secret registration numbers. And their personal staff, chefs, nannies, stylists, tutors, are all vetted by layers of national security protocols. You think having money makes you powerful? In the Gulf, power makes you money. Because unlike Western billionaires, these men don't earn fortunes. They manage them for generations. And they can move billions with a signature, shape policy with a nod, and disappear enemies with a whisper. Their rivals don't compete. They either fall in line or vanish. Let's not forget how MBS responded to criticism. Whether it was the Jamal Khashoggi fallout or internal family disputes, his message was clear. I am the future. Either you join it or you get buried by it.
هذه حرب السعوديين. هذه حربي اللي أخوضها شخصيا، ولا أريد أن أفارق الحياة إلا وأرى الشرق الأوسط في مقدمة مصاف العالم، وأعتقد أن هذا الهدف سوف يتحقق 100%.
الله يعطيك طول العمر يا سيدي.
So what keeps them untouchable? Oil. Even in an era of renewables, oil remains the planet's economic artery, and the Gulf holds over 30% of the world's proven oil reserves. They can raise or crash oil prices, with consequences for inflation, elections, and military operations worldwide. Soft power. They've bought football clubs, luxury brands, and Hollywood studios. They've hosted the World Cup, Formula One, and international art fairs. You can't cancel someone who owns the platform. Geopolitical balancing. They play East against West. Saudi signs defense deals with the US and partners with China on AI. The UAE builds ties with Israel and Russia while hosting US troops. Qatar funds humanitarian aid and Islamic movements, all while owning billions in London real estate. Controlled succession. Unlike turbulent monarchies, Gulf succession is tightly managed. There are no open elections, no opposition parties, no rival factions with real power. The inner circles are locked tight. And finally, fear. Within their countries, criticizing these men isn't just risky, it's often illegal. Media is state-run. Surveillance is extensive. Loyalty is rewarded. Dissent disappears. But here's what's most fascinating. Despite the absolute power, they aren't isolated monarchs living in ancient luxury. They're modern, strategic, and digitally savvy. MBS plays Call of Duty. Tamim follows crypto markets. MBZ uses WhatsApp like a general running a war room. They understand global trends, they shape narratives, and they're building legacies not just for themselves, but for their children and their grandchildren. So next time you hear about a Gulf prince buying a football club or building a vertical city in the desert, ask yourself, what's the real play here? Because these men aren't just buying assets, they're buying the future. This is Desert Billionaires. Hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories of power, wealth, and influence. See you in the next episode.